Alright, so for today's video, we are going to be using the new exotics. Yep, the new exotics for the Titan. And let's just say they are a lot better than I thought they would be. On paper, they look pretty damn good, but when using it, it's a lot better than I thought. And basically with this setup, before I actually get into everything, we're just going to be causing a bunch of solar explosions wherever we go and enhancing that solar damage with the Path of Burning steps. That is pretty much the only function of these leg armor pieces, since we're going to be using it in PvE. By the way, these things are great in PvP too if you want to try them out, but that's besides the point. Anyway, what the burning steps actually do is solar final blows periodically grant you an escalating bonus to weapon damage. It can stack up to 4 times, and the buff lasts 10 seconds. Each kill resets that timer. Now, essentially what we want to do with this setup is use as much solar damage as we possibly can and as much explosive damage as well. So we're using a grenade launcher, sunshot, and Cloudoa, a rocket launcher. So just as much explosive damage as we possibly can, alongside a bottom tree solar sunbreaker with sunspots. Now, the mods that we're going to be using that goes with our weapons and our boots to pair everything together very nicely is primarily Warmind Cell mods as well as well mods. So we're going to be using the two together. There's actually 2 of each. There's 2 well mods and 2 Warmind Cell mods with 1 extra Argent Ordnance to top it all off. First 2 mods that I want to note is Explosive Wellmaker, and this is actually a new mod, and what it does is rapidly defeating combatants with explosive damage spawns a solar elemental well. There should be tons of elemental wells that spawn at your disposal, just because every single part of this setup is explosive damage. The Warmind Cells, the hand cannon, the grenade launcher, the rocket launcher, the grenades. The only thing that actually isn't explosive damage is our melee, and even then it's still some form of solar damage, which is what we're going for our boots. The next mod I want to go over is Global Reach. This is pretty simple. All it does is increase the distance of the Warmind Cell damage, so they basically become tactical nukes. And the next mod that I want to go over is Wrath of Rasputin. Solar splash damage final blows have a chance to create Warmind Cells. I've already said this multiple times, everything in our build is splash damage. The only thing that actually isn't solar damage is our grenade launcher, and even then it's still going to be getting us our grenade back, and it's still a form of splash damage, so it works with our Explosive Wellmaker. And the last 2 mods that I have is Elemental Charge, which just has us become Charge of Light. It gives us 2 stacks of Charge of Light whenever we pick up an elemental well, so that's where Explosive Wellmaker comes into play. And the last one is Argent Ordnance, which I mentioned earlier, which is going to be increasing our rocket damage massively. And what this does is while Charge of Light raiding or firing a rocket launcher grants it increased damage and reload speed. Damaging a combatant with a rocket consumes 1 stack of Charge with Light. So we're going to be Charge of Light most of the time that we're running around in PvE activities, so having the Argent Ordnance buff will be increasing our rocket damage almost all the time. Now that we got the Charge of Light mods out of the way, one main mod that I actually want to note that is amazing is Breach and Clear. When using a grenade launcher, damaging a boss, damaging a champion, or breaking a combatant's shield reloads your stowed weapons and causes the combatant to take increased damage for a short duration. So not only is it going to be reloading our other weapons, so let's say we shoot a rocket launcher, then we pull out our grenade launcher, shoot that, and then pull out our rocket launcher again, it's going to be automatically reloaded. But not only that, it's going to be increasing our rocket damage. So we're going to have Breach and Clear damage buff alongside Argent Ordnance damage buff. So our rockets are going to hit like a truck. We're going to absolutely destroy champions, and we're going to be doing massive boss DPS to any enemy in the game. By the way, I really do think Breach and Clear will be used in the new raids and just in any high tier PvE activity. This mod it's amazing. I highly recommend using it. Although it costs 9 energy, which is absolutely absurd, but it's amazing. So it's worth it. The other mods that we're using is just rocket launcher stuff, as well as momentum transfer, which just has us get melee energy whenever we deal damage with our grenade. And we have ashes to assets as well, which just gets us super energy on grenade kills. Next thing I want to go over is our weapons. The grenade launcher, like I said, Breach and Clear, we're going to be using that, and we're going to be using that a lot with our rocket launcher when dealing with champions and bosses. Like you've seen in the gameplay most likely, whenever we're dealing with champions, we shoot a rocket, switch to our grenade launcher, shoot that, and then that reloads our rocket launcher, so we switch back to our rocket and shoot it again. So rocket, grenade launcher, rocket, and we just do that over and over again when it comes to higher tier enemies. When it comes to the normal adds in any particular PvE activity, we're just going to be using our sunshot as well as our grenades and abilities. We don't really need to use our grenade launcher or rocket for normal enemies, although we can, but all that's really necessary is our sunshot and our sunspots within bottom tree solar. Here's my grenade launcher if you want to check out the perks and the stats, and here is my rocket launcher as well. And with that being said, last thing I want to go over is the stats. I would highly recommend speccing into discipline as well as strength. You want your abilities back as much as you possibly can. Your sunspots will be doing a big chunk of that, regardless of whether or not you have high stats into discipline or strength, but I would still spec into these 2 stats just so you have your abilities back constantly. So more stats that you can spec into if you'd really like is resilience and recovery as well. Both of those are great on Titans. So do with your stats as you please. And now we are done. Please try this out. Please try out at least the new mod Breach and Clear. It is an amazing mod. It is in the last row, I think. That's a row of the new artifact, and I highly recommend trying it out. It is so good, especially in the Lost Sectors and Nightfalls. Alright, next video will most likely be a Warlock video with the new boots as well, just because the boots are just they're so good. I love the new exotics this season. And yeah, I will see you in the next video. Probably a Hunter one after that, or maybe another Titan. Alright, now I'm gone. I'll see you then. Bye!